Kind of cleaning the office, kind of getting there, slowly. Want to do a really quick video. This might not actually be the first video you see from me today. I might touch up on a different topic, but discovered something that MetaZoo did that I have a couple of questions on. Now, I know you're probably thinking, oh, it's Decks and Drafts, it's MetaZoo, this is going to be bad, he's going to bash it, here we go. That's actually not the case this time, because we're dabbling in something that I genuinely don't know. I can't exactly empathize, and it has to deal with kind of the use of pronouns and working with, kind of looking at an LGBTQ issue. Now, I'm a straight white male, so it's kind of hard for me to just jump in and empathize with those type of things. So that's why I'm posing this question. I'm going to show you guys a card, some rules, and then, yeah, I've got some follow-ups for some things. Couple things before I go. One, I'm going to delete insensitive comments. I don't want your transphobia. I don't want your homophobia. I don't want any of that crap. I really don't. And I really don't want to have to turn on comment approval. And I really don't want to have to delete this video because it gets out of hand. Like, we've done pretty well in the past. Please keep it respectful. Please keep it on task. I don't even really want to see, I don't even want the MetaZoo hate on this. I'm showing a MetaZoo card for a very specific reason. Don't give me any of that mindless stuff either. I'm genuinely curious about, is there a problem here or not? And I genuinely don't know. So here we go. Here's what I've got. This is the card Lady in Red, coming from the UFO set. It has a rule under the yellow bar. If any opposing caster during this game identifies as a man, this beastie gains a benefit. Naturally, the words identify as a man are going to be kind of where I focus on. We're getting into genders, and we're getting into gender identity. So there's two sides to this one, and I'm going to kind of share what I've seen, heard, chatted about, think about of both, but this is kind of why I want to bring up some questions. So you're probably already thinking, like, why does it matter? Like, why would you even include something like that? And you got to kind of understand MetaZoo, and it helps understand this card. MetaZoo is a game that their characters focus a lot on cryptozoology and kind of folklore and, kind of those local legends, which is a draw for a lot of people. I'm not even going to lie. That's really damn cool. That's really cool. So the Lady in Red the story goes, from what I was able to see, is that she was a prostitute who operated out of a Nevada hotel, and she was murdered by a client who for some reason thought he was the only one, and had some issues with that. So it makes sense from a flavor perspective and a lore perspective that she would have an issue with men. Like, that makes a lot of sense there. So angle one, number one, is the text on the card itself. Identifies as a man. Ideally, it looks to be, kind of that attempt at inclusive language. The question to that community is that in fact inclusive? Are we still inclusive by saying identify as a man? And that's something, again, I ask these things because I genuinely don't know. Is there still a difference between identifies as a man or is a man? I know in some cases, those are just, if they identify as a man, they're a man, the end. You is a man works here. Is identifies as a man still okay? Is that fine? That's something I'm not sure of. On top of that, was it clear enough? We're in the middle of 2022. Is that clear enough that if this is a problem, it's widespread enough, people should know, don't put it. I'm not trying to come out here and say as like if there was anything negative or if there's anything kind of insensitive or wrong here, that it was like intentional and they're trying to just throw in cheap jabs. I do see this part, the text on the card, as an attempt to be inclusive, and kind of respect all that, knowing that the lore is, very specific of like, she's not a man fan. Does this work? Does this work for you? Genuine question. The other side of this, which I asked my local community, the Colorado Discord community, and I was just curious of like, hey, what do you guys think? And they brought up another side to this conversation that I didn't even think about, which was the execution of the mechanic. Because now we're in a situation, especially, depending on who's in front of you, where there's going to be a need to call out and ask for somebody's pronoun. And whether or not that's like rude, or something rude to do in game, of like, hey, I've got to play this, and I have to ask what your pronoun is. On the other side of that, does that create an uncomfortable situation? Is it clear enough that it would create an uncomfortable situation that should have been known before somebody made the mechanic? I don't know. At least for the second part, I don't think so. But that's why I ask. To just knock out probably an argument that somebody might think is a fair one, but is kind of a crappy one, I don't even want to entertain the idea that somebody could just cheat because they want to, because they're a terrible human being. Like, don't give me that crap. I'm not interested in it. I'm not interested in it. And I guess I got a third question for this, is if there is an issue here, that lore is still solid. That flavor is still solid. And because we are dealing with, MetaZoo is very, they are the fourth wall breakers. So things like, characteristics about an individual matter. Is there a way to do this properly? Should it just be avoided? Or is stuff like this fine? Is there a middle ground? That's what I have. I'd love your thoughts. Again, keep it civil. I really don't want to do comment approval. I really don't. So, yeah, that's what I have. Would love your thoughts.